Hey, it's Jaime with Echo Real Estate Advisors. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another video. Today we cover a very important topic, i.e. a money-saving topic, which is a homestead exemption. A homestead exemption helps you save money on your home taxes. An exemption removes part of the value of your property from taxation and lowers your tax bill. Makes sense, right? So for example, if your property is valued, let me back up, if your property has an assessed value, it's going to be very important. Terminology is going to be very important, and you'll see why in a second. If your home has an assessed value of $200,000 and you qualify for a homestead exemption of $25,000, effectively you're removing $25,000 of the assessed value of your property, i.e. instead of you paying taxes on $200,000 worth of home, you're paying taxes on $175,000 worth of home. Does that make sense? So before we go any further with homestead exemption, let's look at the formula. You have the assessed value, which is the value that your county has assessed on your property. They have another value, which is the market value, which is different. The market value, 99.999% of the time, is going to be higher than the assessed value, i.e. it's going to be 100% of the time higher than your assessed value. The assessed value can be reduced by the homestead exemption that we're mentioning, and there's some other exemptions that you as a person, you as an individual and homeowner can qualify for. So that's your assessed value. That is what you're looking at when you go to your CAD, the County Appraisal District, so the website, and look up your property. That's the value that you're looking for. Now something else in the other part of the equation is the property tax rate. And that property tax rate varies by county, varies by city, varies by school district. So if you were out there looking for homes prior to purchasing, you may have noticed the different tax rates that were being applied on the home based off of the area that you were looking at. So if you're out there presently looking for a home right now, be cognizant of that because tax implications are a real thing. So let's look at the homestead exemption from the tax benefit side. There are some legal benefits when it comes to why you want to have a homestead exemption, but we're not going to cover that in this video. There's going to be another video in this channel that covers that, but for our purposes, we want to stay on the tax side. We want to stay on the tax benefit side, which helps us with our pocketbook. All right, so one important thing to realize is this tax exemption is only needs to be done once. So once you do this, once you get that homestead exemption, know that that homestead exemption stays with it until you sell the home and or you yourself remove it. So if you file it today, know that next year you don't have to file it. The following year after that, you don't have to file it. And you keep incurring those savings. So those savings add up for the 15 to 20 minutes that it took you to file the homestead exemption. Something else to be aware of, when you're filing this exemption, there are other exemptions that you can qualify for. So be sure to read all of the different exemptions. They're typically on the last or the second last page, depending on which state you're in. So don't forget to read through the entire thing because there's some multiple exemptions that may be of benefit to you. Now, who qualifies? If you are a homeowner, that is one. That is the first qualification. If you're a homeowner, then you move on to the second qualifier. If you're a renter, you're not paying taxes, you're not paying property taxes, let me rephrase that. So there's nothing for you to get an exemption on. Now, if you're a renter, this is important for you because when you do purchase your home, know that you want to file this to save some money and have those legal protections that I briefly mentioned a few seconds ago. So if you're a renter, this still applies to you because you do want to be as knowledgeable when you become a homeowner because it saves you money in the long run. So if you're a homeowner, know that you can go on to that next qualifier. And that next qualifier is this property your primary residence? So if you're an investor and are renting, which is not uncommon, know that your rental properties, those do not qualify since they're not your primary residence. So that's very important. It has to be your primary residence and you only get one homestead exemption. So that homestead exemption, you do have to demonstrate that you are living in it. You do have to demonstrate that it's not an investment. So it's for individuals, not for a corporation. So if it's on the deed that you purchased it through an LLC or an S corp or C corp or any type of corporation, know that likelihood of you getting that approved is not very high. You will want to, let me rephrase that, you do need to submit your driver's license, and your driver's license, the address that you have on there has to match the property that you're trying to qualify for that homestead exemption for. So this is a relatively new rule, which in the past, several years ago, that wasn't a requirement. But when you're out there filing for this homestead exemption, you do need to provide that. You do need to provide your driver's license, and that address that you provide has to coincide with the address of the property that you're trying to qualify for. Now, we've already mentioned it, but I will reiterate, the homestead exemption only applies once. You only have to apply for it once. Let me rephrase that. You only have to apply for it once, and every single year it's on there. So you don't have to go and do it again the following year. Now, you do have to own the home January 1st of the year that you are applying for. So if you purchased the home last year and you were the homeowner through January 1st, you are eligible to apply. So right now we're in the year 2019. So if you purchased the home in 2018 and you were the owner and are living in the property from January 1st of 2019, then you qualify for that. Now, this isn't just for a home in the sense of a house, a traditional house that you would think of. This applies to a house, a condo, manufactured homes. So anything that you categorize as your homestead, it'll pass, if you will. Now, there are some cautionary items that I want to bring to your attention. The homestead exemption does have deadlines, and they all vary by states. Not all states have a homestead exemption, so you do want to take that into consideration. Generally, the deadlines are at the end of April, some in May, but just go to your county appraisal district, so go to your county website and find those deadlines, because past those deadlines, you're not going to be able to get your homestead exemption for that year. Something else, if you're a first-time home buyer and this is the first cycle, this is the first year that you've become a homeowner, know that you're going to get some junk mail that's going to look super official. You're going to get so many postcards, you're going to get so many letters, you're going to get so many flyers, you're going to get so many services masking themselves as government entities trying to get you to submit the homestead exemption through them, which what they're after is they're trying to charge you to do it. So I'm going to caution you against that, because it's so simple to do it yourself, and you're not exposing yourself to the scammers out there. You're not exposing yourself out there to the services that may not be as reputable. So just be on the lookout for that. Some of these things they look so official, but for them not to commit fraud or to be illegal, if you will, they do have to put somewhere on the envelope that this is actually not a government entity or anything else like that, although they do mask it very, very well. So just be on the caution for that. no one should charge you to get your homestead exemption. This is something that you can file yourself, and you can file yourself for free. There's no fee associated to that. So now I'm speaking to Texas specifically. I do want to make that qualifier. Again, not all states have this homestead exemption, so be on the lookout for that. Now, something else to be on the lookout for and just be cautious of, in markets that have property values that are either dipping or even if they're holding steady. So if you're coming from a very hot market and that market has kind of cooled off, where some of the property values you're seeing them go lower or decrease, you're going to want to look at your assessed value. So look at the assessed value of your property, because you may be able to contest it. Actually, that is something that I advise my clients on. Contest. Contest, contest, contest. Even if it's right, contest. Or if you think that it's right around the ballpark of where it should be. You do want to save as much money as you can, or let me rephrase that. I'm assuming you want to save as much money as you can, but more importantly, in these markets that are slowing down or the markets that are decreasing, you see properties decreasing in value, you do want to look at your assessed value and contest if possible, because you may be paying more taxes than what your property is worth. Again, this is very common when you're coming out of a very hot market, a very hot where property values are going higher and higher. Now, there is a appraisal cap. There is a cap that is legally set in place, so that prevents counties from appraising your property over a certain percentage of value. So you're not going to be taxed, let's say, for $200,000 worth of a property, and the next year they're going to value your property at $300,000. There are some caps, and they vary by state. So that jump, it will be significant, but it won't be beyond the cap that they're legally able to do. And I want to say it's roughly around 10%. So again, they all vary. So you do want to look into that. Chances are they're not going to, I would suspect, and I'm pretty sure that they're not going to go beyond their cap, knowing that they have that as a restriction. Now, how do you apply for these homestead exemptions? We've covered what the homestead exemption is. We've covered who qualifies. We've covered some cautionary items. Now, how do you actually apply for this? It's very simple. You just go to your county website and then type in homestead exemption, and a form is going to pop out. Typically, it's a couple of pages, several pages that you need to fill out, which has information that's readily available to you. So all you need to do is fill it out and submit it. Again, it's at no cost to you. So you do want to submit it and take the benefit of having that exemption so you don't have to pay taxes on that amount that you saved in assessed value. So outside of that, that is a homestead exemption. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, or if you'd like some additional information about your property in particular or a certain situation, please feel free to reach out. My information is in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, it's Jaime with Echo Real Estate Advisors. Thanks so much for checking out one of my videos. Feel free to browse around for any additional topics that may be of interest to you. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another upload. Lastly, remember, I am a full-time realtor, so feel free to reach out and see how I may be of service. Thanks.